Welcome back to the Two Norries podcast. Tonight we have a strange one. James is not here, so I'm hosting on my own. James has symptoms tonight, and we had two lads coming down from Armagh, and by the time we found out he had symptoms, they were already on their way, so they're here tonight with me.
Yes.
Yeah. So we'll have a great crack anyway.
Oh, well, so excited for it. It's going to be amazing.
So I'll just introduce both of them. So firstly, we have James, who's a mentor with Stevey J International and has won awards for his contribution to humanity. In 2017, he has won the Heart of Gold Award and then the Local Hero Award, which was presented by Ronan Keating from Boyzone. Boyzone. Yeah. He's also impacted thousands of people's lives throughout the world with some of his motivational speaks, talks and all this. You know, James also has been appointed as a director of the Super U project, which is based in Armagh in the north of Ireland. He teaches the science of achievement, emotional mastery and the art of fulfillment to children and young adults. James also runs a jiving company. Ooh, I like that. Jiving. We have to hear a few stories about jiving anyway.
Absolutely.
A jiving company called Stevey Gym and has won multiple dance championships across Ireland. In 2018, he, with his fiancée, Hannah, jived for 5 hours. How do you do that?
Yeah, 5 hours non-stop.
Unless you're probably up to your eyeballs in cocaine or something like that anyway. But we'll come to that. And tonight he's companioned with Jamie. Jamie is a very good friend of mine as well. Both lads are good friends of mine because I met both of them on a retreat there recently, maybe 2 weeks ago, lads.
It was amazing to see the retreat.
Yeah. Which was mind-blowing and one of the best experiences of my life. So Jamie is a man of many talents and has... he's becoming a member of Stevey J International soon, where he's also going to go into schools in other areas to talk about the art of fulfillment and all these other areas. So well done, Jamie.
Thank you, appreciate that. Boy.
Well done.
And they're also musicians, the two lads, and they're going to
We've got the
entertain
guitars
us a little
here.
bit.
Get
So-
down the road.
Tell us a little bit about yourself anyway. So, James,
So
I'm gonna
first
start
off,
with you.
Timmy and James, I know James isn't here, but thank you so much for welcoming us to this
welcome.
amazing facility here, the Two Norries podcast, and also well done for you were in the Opera House in Cork. So fantastic! I know that was a dream of you, a dream for you too, and it was a sold out audience. So well done. When you're reading that back, it's like, is this really me? Did this really happen in my life? And yeah, there's loads of things I've done, like the jiving, working with Stevie, and dancing for the 5 hours non-stop. I set up a page years ago called Passing Through, and that was basically the thing that went viral. And it was one video. I recorded one video and I posted it online. I think I had about 78 followers, and on the page. And it was just like a motivational page, something for people to connect with, posting pictures. But I never really posted videos. So sat in the car, 2016, I believe, and I posted online. And
Had you stuff going on in your life at that moment of time?
yeah, there was a lot, and myself and Jamie was actually asking this down the way down. We all have stuff, we all have stuff going on in our lives and have had stuff in our lives. And I got to the point where I just wanted to speak my truth and also help people. And if my story could help people and connect, then that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I didn't know at that point that the video and the page would go viral. As I know the word viral, but it literally did. The page has been seen in like 86 different countries around the world, and people follow it from all over the world. And years ago the reach was much more. Facebook has lowered the reach now, but like there's 50,000 followers on that page. And they used to tune in. I used to do live videos every Tuesday night, and it was called Choo Choo Tuesday, Tuesday Live. And I was doing motivational, inspirational, stories, but also telling people about my stories, and if people can relate to stories, and that's a good thing. And then that's how I met Stevey. Stevey met me through that page. It was actually Declan Loy, who is one of the other directors on the Super U program. Stevey's the director of the Super U program, Declan, and then they've now appointed me as a director. And they were seeing the stuff on the Facebook, and they said that guy could, we need that guy in the schools, like, and Stevey reached out, and I took the opportunity, and the first thing ever in relation to speaking in front of people, it was 300 people in Cookstown. It was like a night of inspiration and hope, and there was a fire walk that night, and I walked in and there was 300 people. There was kids, there was parents, there was teachers, and that was the first time I ever really spoke in front of people, because I was usually speaking on the phone, to people across the world, but now I'm speaking in front of people, and I know you've just done that too, in the Opera House. For me it was the Opera House. I still struggle with the phone. Maybe I should do Absolutely.
a little bit more with the phone, because a lot of people have asked me about maybe running 1 or 2 meditations just to help, and I would love to be able to do it and teach people how to meditate and just talk through my own process and how it happened for me, because it's everybody's so different, but I'd like to be able to help people that are really, really struggling and who may have been in a similar position to where I was, where I literally had to put my 2 hands on top of my legs at the beginning to stop them from shaking.
Wow.
And I just, it was my last resort. So I moved on from there. So I want to bring you back a little bit.
Go for it.
Okay.
I'm all ears.
Let's bring you back to where you grew up, who you grew up with, brothers, sisters, and family, and let's talk a little bit about your childhood, maybe.
Yeah, so I had an amazing childhood. There was challenges, of course, as well. I grew up right beside Loch Ness, a place that's magical because it was out in nature, and I have a brother, Gavin, who you've met. Gavin's now working with us.
Another legend.
He's a legend. Shout out to Gavin. And then I have 2 sisters. One is called Emma, the other's called Aoife, and Aoife's younger. And then my mum died last year, which we'll get into later. And my father's still alive. And very humble people, humble background. We just live outside Lurgan, in County Armagh. And of course, there was loads of amazing success stories, amazing childhood memories that, I could draw out and share those. But there was also hardship. There was also challenges. There was also difficult situations that I was subjected to, and maybe I subjected to people as well. But there was one situation which led me to setting up the page and writing music. There was a certain situation in school where I was stood up and I was told that I would get nowhere in life by a person in authority. And at that age, I was about 12, 13. And I think I got 28% in a maths test, and
Join the club.
28%.
No, probably 8.
And it was actually, now looking back, one of the best experiences for me. And I'm so glad it happened in my life, because the trials, the tribulations, the turbulence in your life can actually steady the plane, and steady the captain to fly the plane. So for me, then I wrote music about the situation. I set up the page, and I'm very thankful for the journey. I was emotionalizing stories. I was playing the victim for a long time. Long time. And I felt alone and isolated, but I also had a persona. I lip glossed around a mask, and when we're mentoring people to come to the retreats, we teach them about basically persona in Latin is mask. So I masked away the truth of who I should have been, and I was playing roles that would fit into other people's expectations. But then I got to a point in my life where, through all the different hurdles, all the different situations in my life, at the age of 22, I wanted to die. I literally wanted to jump off the cliff in Bundoran, a beautiful place called Rogie. If you're ever up in Donegal, there's a beautiful, beautiful place. We used to go there when we were kids. But we're I was on a specific holiday and I just wanted to jump, like leap over and not live again, like not live anymore. And in that moment, I had to make a decision. Either I was going to jump or I was going to live. And in that moment, I just thought of everything I was leaving behind. And I found my heartbeat. I was sharing this with Jamie. I literally found my heartbeat and it was almost like, boom. I woke up to being present, you know. And I looked and go, all the moments that I was emotionalizing, some of the things weren't even from me, you know. They were of me, you know what I mean? I didn't choose them, it was other people, and I chose to listen to people. So I had to do a lot of forgiveness, a lot of letting go. Once I then chose to live, there was opportunities that presented themselves, and I just started saying yes to them. And an amazing story then in 2019, we were doing a live event, and there was a lot of Cork gang came up to us, Paul and Jackie, and we were up, myself and Stevie were doing a live event. And that morning, my car rolled off the road because a guy broke a red light, and I smashed into him. And my life was flashing before my eyes. So I was at the moment at the age of 22, where I wanted to die and chose to live. Now I'm in a situation at 29 where I wasn't in control of the situation. My car was rolling off the road, and I wasn't in control. And it was two contrasts, you know, whereas here I am, I have a beautiful life, I have a wonderful life. There's challenges, yeah, but I have a beautiful fiance, I get married this year. My mum passed last year, loads of healing from that story. But it was just those two moments, you know, that now I look back on and go, wow, here's a moment where I really wanted to die. Yeah. And now here's a moment where I don't want to die, I want to live. Yeah. And I was spurred. I was graced by love and light, and it kept me here. And they actually called me that day. The paramedics, they couldn't believe, like, the car was completely rode off. Like, I mean, rode off. It had rolled over 4 times on its side. Was about to go on fire, you know. Jeez. And you know, I'm even blessed for that journey too. You know, I'm blessed for that experience because it taught me a lot. I never made the event that morning, but I made it that night. I walked in that evening.
Did you tell them about the policeman? What do you do for you?
Oh yeah. So shout out to the PSNA. Big shout out to...
If anybody doesn't know who just came in, that was Jamie. We'll go back to that story. Jamie, just tell everybody who you are and a little bit about yourself, and we'll go back to this story, because there was this fella sitting in the corner there, and sorry for keeping you there so long.
No, not at all. I enjoy the silence. It means don't say anything wrong. You know what I mean? I suppose where I'm at in my life, I'm just loving it, boy. I'm giving back, and I'm helping people, I'm growing, I'm learning, connect with this man on shows like this here, you know, really going forward in life. And using a lot of them experiences and challenges to sort of direct it. So I count them all as blessings, you know, all the challenges and the hardships, because they give you a level of empathy that you couldn't have without it.
Powerful.
You know, and especially as you know yourself, adolescence, it's one of them years where you're trying to discover yourself.
Yes.
But the first step of discovering yourself is usually elimination. So finding out who you're not is equally as important as who you are. So for me, I was sort of eliminating who I was every few months, you know, and finding out and putting on these masks and the personas. I suppose I laid me down places I didn't want to be. But in the end of the day, I was glad I was there, because I've got a level of insight most won't.
Yeah,
he's so talented. Like,
unbelievable.
Like, this man here, like, he's really catapulted my music.
Yes.
And I see so much potential. I seen it as the first time I met this fella, Jamie, which is not that long ago. Like, I just knew instantly. Like, when you know, when you see someone and the potential that someone
Feel it in
has.
your gut.
He started playing the guitar in the hub up in Armagh, and I was like, I'm actually getting goosebumps now talking about it. I was so blown away, because music has a way of healing and connecting, you know, as you know, because you've had musicians on here before. And like, you know, outside of the Stevey J International and the Super U project and all the wonderful things we're doing with the charity, you know, we're taking our music seriously now. And we're actually in Cork there 2 weeks ago. At the Black Market.
Yeah, I've seen you. I was
Powerful evening.
Yeah.
And shout out to the guys at Black Market and Jackie and Paul, who put on an amazing, and everyone from Cork who showed up. There was a firewalk and then a gig. And it was our first gig in Cork, a big gig. So thanks to that.
That was a great occasion.
Always
That
powerful.
changed a lot of people's lives.
It did.
You know, it really showed them that they don't have to be full of fear.
I know, and there's a great level of community, especially in the area inside the Black Market. It was near like a big, tightly knitted family, in a sense.
Even
you know?
for the men.
Yeah, the men.
Even when we were at the retreat, I see a lot of men, including myself, leaving themselves become vulnerable.
Yeah.
You know,
You can
where
put-
their voices inside the head saying,
Yeah.
don't do that. Jeez, don't do that.
Put your
Don't."
pride aside for a few days.
And then all of a sudden, do you know what I said to myself? I said, no, I'm going to go with this. I'm going to go with it. And I had one of the most amazing experiences of my life.
Thank you.
Of my life. It really, really picked me up and threw me outside the box, if that's the right word to say. And I left there more stronger within myself, you know, with more self-esteem, confidence, all these different things that I may not have had beforehand. And even beliefs, you know, my beliefs in as a man, you know, that you have to be always, you know, masculine and always just, you know, I left my guard down basically, and everything started to change, and it was an amazing experience.
It was amazing to have you there, Timmy, too, and Jamie, and what Stevie has set up there, and now I'm going to be overtaken here in November time. The Live Your Epic Adventure Retreats is a huge part to everything that's happened here in my life. Like the dancing for 5 hours. Like Stevie done. I know you had Stevie on your podcast back in June last year. It was actually then outside Creaking where we planted the seed for tonight, because you said, sure, we'll get you up. And that was June of last year. And it's just it just shows you the power of planting a seed. You know, shout out to Stevey J, like the man. I see him as a brother. I'm getting married this year, and I've chosen him as one of my groomsmen. That's
And I
how
can
much
see
love him.
why. I can truly see why, because he's such a powerful, authentic human being. And I've gathered that, like, anybody that'll ever go to something like this, you know, they'll always have that little voice in the back of their head. Right, they're all they're after is your money, or it's this. I can tell anybody that's listening here now that it's not that.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I came across people up there that were so kind and loving and caring to me, and I cried with a lot of them, and I laughed with them, and I just had an amazing weekend.
You sat making faces to each other for a good
Yeah,
15 minutes.
and what else? We were doing our dance. Jesus,
yeah.
come on, the Warriors. Go on, Joey.
Go on, Joey.
Good show. Really, you're freeing yourself up from the suppression, the conditioning. Because one of the first step that I learned from Stevie, and we'll go back to the police story, by the way, because in my being to tell, sure. Stevie shared me this in 2016 when I was an attendee. So I went as an attendee myself to a live event. And he says, you know, the first step is to awaken from the hypnotic slumber. Yeah. You know, so there's a slumber, the slumber being the suppression, the conditioning. And we all have it in different ways because they're product of our environment, or stories that we take on, or people that we can involve with, or television that's marketing so much noise right now or previously. And the first step is to awaken to your true authentic self. You know, awaken from the hypnotic slumber. Second step then is to be your true authentic self, and that's what we were doing. We were being our true authentic self that weekend. And even here, like there's no script.
No.
And this is, and you had me Hall Martin on, like fair play to the T-Shock coming down here, and like no script, and just burn it all out. And we were talking to Ronan, your backstage man here. He's a legend.
Yeah,
Man,
legend.
legend.
He's the boy, yeah.
You know, and sometimes we have ideas about people even online or on the television, but they're human. They're human as well, and have stories. And you know, did I script the car rolling off the road? Did we script this? No. And it's about going with the turbulence, going with. So anybody out there who is going through something,
I've seen so many people heal on the back of this stuff you wouldn't believe.
yeah,
It's powerful.
I was at the firewalk, was it 2 weeks ago?
2 weeks
Two weeks ago.
And I see people at that firewalk who were absolutely unrecognizable 6 months ago because of their mental health.
yeah,
And I was looking at them and they were just laughing and they were smiling and they were crying
beautiful.
and I was saying to myself, is this the same human being? You know, and all they're doing is they go to a friend of mine there, Scott. He does meditation class.
Yes, Scott
in the
Kelly,
city.
star. He was at the retreat as well.
Yeah.
Amazing human being.
Powerful human being.
Powerful.
Again, completely changed his life
And
around
Shane,
on a
he-
360,
Yeah,
you know.
and Shane as well.
And Shane
Amazing.
and Paul, what Paul is doing, you know. Paul was on the radio there last week and he was talking about what he does, you know. And we all have histories, we all have stories, but it's not about that.
It's not.
It's about what we're doing now and the change that we're bringing into our community.
That's it. You can't control what happens. You can only control your reaction to it.
You know?
You know?
And when you see people change like that, I see people at that retreat. I don't want to mention no names now, but I see some people just standing back from the crowd because the fear was there. They didn't want anybody to see who they were, you know, and the fear was there. And by the end of that retreat, they were up, they were dancing and you know,
Hugging
they
each other, everybody like a family nearly. It was lovely. Nobody wanted to go home on
It
Sunday.
was beautiful. It
was.
And I love watching people grow like that as well. It's
And
fantastic.
I also have to add too, which is very powerful. See, as a collective, what you guys are doing here down in Cork, like yourself and James and Paul and Jackie and Scott and everyone who's doing all the things that are promoting others to live, like it's amazing because you're leading the way, you're showing the way. And if anyone can get anything from this podcast or anything from a retreat or Scott's meditation or Paul's seminars, you know, I always say this when I'm on a live video, and I would say this to people too, like one word or one sentence can literally change a life.
Yeah.
Like I would get messages when I first started the Passing Through journey. I was getting messages from all over the world, like, and loads, like, I couldn't even handle it, to be honest with you. But one of the things that was a common thing is, James, like that one sentence made me click, like, boom, you know, spend more time with my wife. Do you know what I mean? Spend more time with your partner or spend more time with yourself. Yeah. And that one thing could be like, yeah, you know what? I need to spend more time with myself because I'm spending not enough time with myself.
Yeah,
Do you know?
and I suppose if we ask ourselves, what do I need more of in my life? What do I need to stop doing? What do I need to do more of?
Yeah.
We have the answers.
We do. Just
But
sometimes we ignore them.
Go exactly until somebody that we respect who's an inspiration to us just says, listen, you need to stop doing that and maybe do this.
Yeah.
And then you'll do it. Because I know in my own life, when I was in early recovery, I had somebody like that if they told me to do whatever, I would have done it because I respected them. My head was telling me the same stuff, but I wasn't listening to it. But when they said it, it was a different story. And that's why we need people like Stevie, people like Paul, people like Scott, people like James, you know, people like E.
Thank you.
Just to say, that's okay. Or even the retreat, just allow people just step outside the box.
And see this island as a whole. There's so much richness. Like we're the island of saints and scholars, but we're the islands of also contributors and creators and talent. And the talent on this island, people like we're conditioned to look at Hollywood. We're conditioned to look beyond. You know, I'm not name any big products, but we're told to look out to seek within. But the amount of energy in this island and what we can do as a individually but collectively is powerful. Like, and I can see that happening, and I can see like, you know, it's taking place because there's hubs that's, you know, been set up, but also like let's work forward together because a lot of people like we're from the north, you know, and just, once you're managed in the north, you know, it's from the past. Like I'll just share a story with you. I remember when I used to work in Tesco years ago, and there was a woman came in that was working on a night shift, and I'll not name the person, but she said to me, James, do you know where I'm going to tonight? I says, no, and I know this woman really well. She says, I'm going to forgive the man who shot dead my husband.
Jesus.
And I was like, what? She says, yeah, I'm going up to Stormont to forgive the man who shot dead my husband. And I was like blown away. Like, I was, what? This is amazing, like powerful, because that's her bringing forward for the people behind, like you know, the culture and the people who are coming forward, like to show the way, to lead, to forgive, to heal, and that's what I see happening, because it has to.
It does.
Because you know what I mean, and we're a product of the stories that we tell, and for me, like, you know, telling new stories, we all have stories, but it's about healing from it, listening, communicating, sitting down together.
Questioning is very important too. To question the information, you know, fed stories, because especially in the North, there's a lot of intergenerational trauma.
Yeah.
And there's
Massive.
people my generation that have a bitterness towards a family because someone did something to someone else's granddad, and it's carried on. Unless you stop it now, it's going to go into our children and the next. So time to
And
act.
that's
now.
the fear.
And that's why the powerful thing is to have like Jamie, who's now being trained as a Super U facilitator. I've been doing the Super U for 4 years now. It was just me. Now Stevie and Declan trusted me to go in, and I was professionally trained to go in through the retreats, and I've been holding it, you know. And next thing, Nikki comes in, and Nikki is Jamie's mum, and now Jamie's coming in as well, and we're training. We had people from Cork there a few weeks ago coming up, and we're bringing the Super U into schools, and our mission, like we have a bigger mission, is to bring it into all the schools around Ireland.
I actually had a conversation with somebody about that today, about how do we, actually it was yesterday, and he asked me, how do we stop it? How do we change it? And my understanding of changing something in 20 years' time is this: if we, like, kids are sponges at the age of, from the moment they're born until they're 6-7 years of age, they start learning all their core beliefs, their habits, all these different things. And if we can teach kids within all our creches and primary schools, it's the most important time of their life, even if they're going home and there's some stuff going on at home and it's not good for the child. At least when they're in schools, they're getting everything they need to nourish them, to show them that they're good enough, to give them some self-esteem, confidence, you know, all these different areas.
So
and if we done that now, in 20 years' time, I guarantee you this, we will have half the people that are addicted to alcohol, drugs, gambling that we have now. If we done that now.
See, a lot of people, when it comes to addiction, they don't realise it's the trauma, and they look at the substance, but the answer is in the roots. So it's until you can deal with that trauma in a healthy perspective, and a lot of people don't even know what they're running from because they've been running from so long. They just keep on running. So you know yourself, when you strip it all back and you get back, there's something that happened to you when you were young. There's something happened here that caused this behaviour that spiraled into this. So if people can be aware of where their actions come from, which is your thoughts and your emotions, and they get that in the kids at a young age to process their emotions and not act out of anger, not lift your fist, not lift your temper, then you're going to see a lot of, especially boys in their 18s, 19s in this country, a lot of substance abuse that's fed in through culture and TV. This is the cool thing. You'll see a stop with that, because they'll find other ways to fulfill that need. If you want confidence, they're going to start working out, they're going to eat better, they're going to look after themselves. They're not going to cheat it. You know, they're not going to consume something for a feeling. They're going to go the long term, because then you can pride yourself. The foundation's there. If you build cheaply, it just comes crumbling.
That's beautiful.
What's your vision around that? What is your vision around
the Super U?
Around the Super U?
So the Super U's vision is long term, is to get into the curriculum of schools, to teach the kids the science of achievement, the art of fulfillment, and emotional mastery. So basically, what we're showing them is there is strategies to winning. You know, what you want to do. So there's a strategy to setting all this beautiful a studio up here. You know, there's a strategy to Ronan in the background there, you know, doing the levels. There's a good man on. There's a strategy to winning. There's a strategy to success, and we want to show them them strategies. There's, you know, and also then we know when you're building something or you're creating something, there's going to be emotions. There's going to be heartache, there's going to be challenges. We call it Kaizen, critical constraints. There's going to be, you know, the boat's not always going to be smooth. There's going to be a rocky road. So we teach them the high positive, low positive, high negative, low negative, you know, the emotional states. We teach them the body language, changing your body language, your language, the right things you should say emotionally, and also where to direct your focus, how to change. And basically, the best thing is what I've learned through Stevie and the Super U and doing the retreats is imprinting a new idea about yourself in the world.
Yes.
And that's the key. Like that is really the key. Telling yourself how to tell yourself a new story about you.
That's it.
And then the big thing, which is the huge thing about the Super U, is the art of fulfillment, which is basically doing things much greater than yourself.
If we all know that is the right thing to do, okay?
Yeah.
Bring people in here and teach kids this more than some of the academic stuff that they're being taught at the moment is how to relate to their feelings and the emotional stuff that's going on for them, and just teach them. Why aren't we doing it? Like, if we know and understand.
I suppose there's been a lot of misconception around different things over the years and throughout society, and suppose modern times are only really catching up, and anyone that would have been aware of this information 20, 30 years ago would have been deemed as a doolally. Do you know, whereas now it's coming forward and there's results and there's great people from the retreats and stories like yourself, story like my own, where the method's getting put into practice and the results are getting shown. And now people are setting up and they're listening because they're aware of it and they're noticing the change it has. But I suppose it was just difficult to get that first step because people didn't really want it. They resisted it. You know,
and the school system is, and it's no one to blame. There's no one to blame. But one of the things is it hasn't really changed because it's very regimental. You sit behind a desk, you wear a uniform, but really, in reality, it's a poor reflection on actual life when you leave because we get to choose what we want to wear. We get to choose the job that we want to have. We really do. We have what we teach is the power of your reason faculty, the ability to choose. Now, school, what I classify school as is basically it's teaching you on memory. You know, a lot of based on memory and from past situations, but it's more like let's teach them entrepreneurship. Let's teach them like the ability to take action. Let's teach them the ability to think for what they want to do and question out. And you know, it's a brilliant environment, a fantastic environment, but with everything there needs to be Kaizen. You know, critical constraints like. And this is even across the board. It could be business, it could be school, it could be even, as you know, yourself and James and Ronan sit down here and you go, how can we improve? When you go back to, you know, the Opera House, you maybe do something different, or maybe you change the, you know, the position of where you sat, or, you know, maybe do more, you know, because, you know, you can do back to back. So it's the same thing with anything. It's like, how can we improve the school system? Well, we have the Super U program that's going into schools, making a huge impact. And anyone out there who would love to find out, contact Nikki from the Super U. She's the managing director. There's a Facebook page there, and we'll happily get into your schools.
And if anybody's wondering how Jamie is so connected intellectually to how he's talking in terms of his emotions and feelings, that's probably from his mother and his father too, you know, because you're only 21 and I've never seen anybody to speak
intellectually
like this at 21.
See, I suppose, especially when you talk about the school system, it teaches you what to think, but doesn't teach you how to think. Then it judges your intelligence on your ability to remember information, regurgitate it, and never apply it in a practical sense. And then also, you're in that closed state, and you're drilling this into you, I've never used Pythagoras' theorem since I left school, and I was stressed and pulling my hair out during my GCSE maths. Do you know what I mean? Do you know? So I think the Super U going in, teaching kids how to think, will open up their whole life, because they'll be questioning everything, and into like adulthood too, they'll be going, why am I getting annoyed at my partner? Why am I feeling this here? Because a lot of people, their emotion goes and that guides them, whereas really you should be guiding your emotion to let it facilitate your actions, because your emotion leads to your actions, and your actions lead to your habits, and your habits become you. So if you can get that at the source, then you're going to cut out a lot of the bullshit.
So basically, this is what you're going to be teaching in schools. What you are teaching in schools at the moment.
We teach them how to think. We teach them how to think, how to feel, and how to act, and basically set what they want to do. Like, let's use the power of imagination. Albert Einstein. You know what I mean? Imagination is more powerful than knowledge. So we can all be knowledgeable, and it's on stories now. We have information overload. Like, we can go on Google and find like anything and do anything. But why don't we? You know what I mean? Well, it's because our imagination has been suppressed and fallen in love with your ideas. Most people give their ideas and their energy to other products and buy other products and other people's dreams, but they don't actually buy into their own. Yeah. So what we want to do is we want to awaken the children and also adults, because the Super You is a different identity to Stevey J.
Yeah.
So we do it with adults, but we also do it then on the kids' levels, you know, and it's about awakening to what you would really like. The first, me and Stevie were actually doing a live training earlier, and we were recording it to be put out there. And I was taught it's about the winning formula, and the first step to the winning formula is not what people actually know or think, because most people think, right, it's discipline, determination, persistence, and yeah, those things are important, but they're actually secondary, because love, like you love this podcast, you wake up. Even though you're working, we love this. We traveled 4 hours to be here, and we're going to travel 4 hours after this to go home. Because why?
Passion and love. And it's like, I was sharing this with Nikki, the managing director from Super U, the other day. In the word passion, in the center you have I, in the center you have I, which is you and me. At the start you have pass, and at the end you have on. I pass on. So what are you passing on? So what would you love to pass on? Because we're all.
No, lovely way of putting
Isn't
it.
I suppose I made that up. That's trademark James McGrath.
That is.
I suppose the real
I
secret
like it.
is trying to find
It's good, isn't it?
Yes. 20 years time now, there'll be a quote in every school.
Yeah.
Compassion. Or what was it?
Passion.
Passion.
I pass on.
I pass on.
And then also
Brilliant.
in the word action, I act on. What are you acting on?
Yeah.
So we all have a passion to do something. We all have a passion to serve, to pour energy into what we want to do. And for anyone, it could be maybe someone's in a prison cell right now listening to this. And this is how powerful your podcast is, because I know this happens. And they just want to get out and change their life. And this podcast, our podcast before, a podcast after, could literally drive them into action. And then they'll write a book like Jerry Murray. Shout out to Jerry Murray too. Amazing.
Well,
you had Jerry here a few weeks ago as well. Jerry wrote a book, and later on we'll sing a song called Painted Rainbow that I'll dedicate to Jerry as well. But like Jerry, there's an example. He actually went to the retreat, and he wanted to pass on his story and his passion for life. And now there's a physical book. Which because he's passing on his passion, and he took action.
And I suppose the real secret is when you're trying to find your passion, a lot of people don't really know, what am I passionate about? And they question themselves.
Yes.
It's whatever you do for the sake of doing it, just for the feeling, the fulfillment. For me, it's music. I don't care if I'm famous or people like it. I just enjoy doing it. For you as a podcast, because when you act out of love, it materializes so much quicker. And it's like people that go to the gym, there's reason people who go to the gym and stick at it and get ripped, because they love the process. There's other people going to Heinz because they only want the end result. But if you don't love the journey, you're just going to stop halfway through, and then you beat yourself up and you go, fuck, I failed again.
Do you know what, Jamie? You should start writing songs, because I
We're
tell
gonna sing
you,
a song.
you
We'll
have
sing-
some weird words, my
We'll
friend.
sing you a song. And I want to share the story about to go track back 20 minutes ago about the police officer, which is related to this.
Yeah,
And I don't know
yeah.
if anyone there too.
Your mother.
There's a wee picture here, and this is my mum died last year. She was 60 years and 22 days, and she gives me so much energy to move forward. But the story, so the car rolled off the road, and I was bringing the guitar to sing that night. So there was no ambulances that morning, so the police had to bring me to the A&E. And I was in the back seat. Now, there was nothing really wrong with me, to be honest with you. A wee bit shocked, the cars rolled off the road. I had a seatbelt scar on my tummy. But I said to the two police officers, if you could do me one thing, right? Could you do me a favor? Right? And I was really putting it out there. Like, I says, I have an event to go to later. And they're sort of looking at me and going, what the, you're not going to an event. I says, if you could do me one favor, if you could get my laptop and my guitar from the scene of the crime and bring it to A&E, would you do that for me? But I was telling them all about what we were doing, the Super U, the passing through, and we were in the car for about 15 minutes. So I just put it out there through the hook. Didn't know if I was going to catch the fish. So next thing, maybe about 4 to 5 hours later, my mum and dad walk in. My mum was still alive at this stage, and my sister. And behind them was the police officer with the laptop and the guitar.
No way.
Not this one. This is a brand new one. The laptop and the guitar, and that was like boom. You know,
Round
like,
of applause. That
yeah, good man. I hope I don't get you in trouble. I'm not sure your name, all right? But he just, that was an act of love, and he sort of bent the rules, you know, and that's an act of love too. Sometimes, if you understand. So for me, like that was life signaling to me. I ain't going to that event.
Yeah, take action.
Take action. And to be honest with you, I went to that event and the doctors, people were telling me no. And it wasn't out of ego, it wasn't out of any of that. It was like life was showing me certainty. Why would that police officer go back? I ended up going in to that event at 5 o'clock. It was started at 10. I walked into that event and sang the songs that we're going to sing. But it's showing an act of love, but also absolute certainty. The story that you tell. Even though my car rolled off the road that morning, I still went to that event. So shout out to the police officer who...
Definitely, yeah.
Powerful story.
Powerful, yeah. You have a few powerful stories though. We'll get to them after this. Go on.
So this song is, it's called Sticks and Stones.
Yeah. And what's the relation to this song?
So this is, if people, sometimes yourself as well, if you're throwing sticks and stones at yourself, or if people are throwing sticks and stones at you, it's that you can do something with it. You can actually build a house with the sticks and stones that people throw.
So when we say sticks and stones, it's negativity, really.
Yeah, well, it's judgment, it's negativity, it's victimhood, it's poor
all things that don't serve you.
Yeah, all things that maybe you're emotionalizing that hold you back from moving forward. But to actually use them for your benefit.
Good.
Taste your words before you spit them out. Look in the mirror before you run your mouth. Slate my name and spit in my face. I'm tired of your childish games. You should know you don't bother me anymore. You should know I'm much stronger than before. You see, sticks and stones can build a house. So thanks to you, I have a mansion now. I've retired from your world of hate and stepped out from your shadow of shame. You should know you don't bother me anymore. You should know I'm much stronger than before. I've no more time for your tasteless words. I pity you now for your selfish games. I've left you behind in a distant past, and how I have the final laugh. You should know you don't bother me anymore. You should know I'm much stronger than before.
The words are so... Everybody can relate to that.
Yeah, sure.
Every single person can relate to it.
It's the truth, and it was written from the truth. It was written, and that's, you know, you can't mask the truth.
Yeah.
But in the song, as you hear, you know, sticks and stones can build a house. So thanks to you, I have a mansion now. Now, it might not be a physical mansion.
Yeah.
It could be whatever you want it to be.
Strength.
It's using that as fuel and fire.
It's built your foundation.
Correct.
It's built you up as a person.
And I remember Stevie shared with me at a retreat, with many others there as well. Passion is born from, great hurt, and also a great love.
Yes.
Great pain.
Yes.
And a great love as well. And that's how passion is born, because if I go back in time And like any storyteller, Christy Moore or any influencer out there, or songwriter or anybody, really it's from a point where they had pain.
Yeah.
It's moments in their life, multiple moments or one moment.
What's
in
the way
time.
quote you used to say? What's the opposite of depression?
The opposite of depression is expression. I learned that from Stevie as well. Yeah. I was actually invited out to sing, or to, not also, yeah, I sang then too, to speak in New York. One of the followers called Maggie Brady, someone had seen my video online in New York, and they asked me to speak over there, and I flew out, and there was 115 people in Yonkers came to hear me speak.
Do you know what, James? You're changing so many people's lives.
Definitely
Like, I can see the love that you have behind the passion that you have in your face, and
Thank you, brother.
and the authenticity in both of you. And like, it'll blow. Even Ronan is probably saying the same, thinking the same back there. It's
You
just
give me tears of joy here. I could cry.
He's a good
it's
man.
the
Like,
truth.
thank you,
Like,
brother.
every time I see it, I see the real joy that you have in your face because of what you're the love you have for
I
what
wouldn't be
you're
sitting
doing.
here without him, you know,
No,
for a long period of
no.
time, maybe 9 years, maybe the odd week gig and the odd bit of this, but just music in the bedroom. Love the flat out. And since I started playing with this man in November, I've been 3 different counties playing music, and I'm on a podcast now, and it's just a quantum leap, as Stevie would talk about it, you know, it's just full momentum now.
And there's a few number ones there as well.
Yeah,
Aye.
so we Marty Rafferty, shout out to Marty Rafferty, who our number ones is a number
There's
one.
a few. There is a few.
I think we actually had a number
Yeah.
one.
You'll get a signed copy.
We actually, but there was a man who came to the retreat who's from Armagh, Marty Rafferty, and he's a music studio there, and he got a number one through applying what he had learnt at the retreat and working with Stevie and ourselves, and he got number one in the UK and Ireland.
Good song too.
I'm alive.
very
I'm
good.
alive. Beautiful songs. Check it out. But like, what's your number one? You know what I mean? Like, what would you love? And that's what I would say to people. Like, what would you love to do? What would you love to have? And who would you love to be on the process? But thank you for that.
I always wanted to sing with Christy Moore because it was his songs I learned the guitar with initially, because they were great songs, and I was passionate about them. And black is the colour, and I'd be inside in there. I'd be inside in the prison cell, and I'd all back, shut the fuck up.
Yes.
Or I'd grab Tommy, my brother. I said, Tommy, come in here and listen to this new song I'm after writing. Tommy, when I locked the door behind him, he baiting on the door to get out of the cell. Do you know, it was just, I was really a lot of passion about it. I was putting words.
Yes.
I was putting words on paper from what was going on in my life and how I was feeling, and it was it's a great way to express yourself. It's through song and poetry. You know,
what
and
you're saying there has flashed me a memory came in. My dad, I wasn't there I wasn't in this memory, but my dad was sharing me when he first met my mum. When he was a monk. I was sharing this earlier.
that is something I wanted to get
true.
to all the
My
time.
father was a monk, and then he met my mum.
That's
he was
brilliant.
Yeah, he was a Franciscan monk in Killarney back in the day, and then he met mum, and he sang a song that night to mum, and you know.
Really?
Yeah.
That was it.
And did that convert him?
Well, there's a few. He'll have to speak from his own experience, but there was. I'd have to have him up sometime on the podcast.
Yeah.
He's an amazing human being. One of my biggest inspirations is through my father.
That's unreal.
He's very switched on too. He's a lovely
My
man.
father is amazing, and when I was growing up, people were always saying to me, you know, he was the top social worker in the north of Ireland. Like, he was dealing with all the stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and amazing human being. And I guess, you know, that's a huge part of the passion I have, is because it was also then passed on from my father, and he has a huge heart of gold. And then obviously my mum there too.
What's his first name?
Tom.
Shout out to you, Tom.
Father Tom.
Shout out to him.
He's
Father
not
Tom.
a monk. He's not a monk. You know, he got married. I told him. I always said to him, he needs to write a book. This man could write a book, and he needs to write a book. And you know, there's, you know, the book The Monk That Sold His Ferrari.
Yeah.
There's a book called The Monk.
Yeah, I've heard of that, yeah.
Well, I said to Dad, you should write a book, said The Monk That Married the Most Beautiful Woman in the World.
Oh.
Do you know what I mean? Because it's a captivating story.
Yeah.
A monk marrying them, because he did. He was my mum. And very
Yeah, she's a beautiful woman as well.
Beautiful, beautiful woman. I don't know if you can see it there, everyone there, but in the camera. But she taught me a lot as well. loads of things, even through her death, through her path, through her passing on. And
I can see she was a good woman through you.
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely was.
I can see it.
Her
so
light still
much.
shines through you, but
Oh yeah, and you know, people were actually a bit shocked about how myself and my brother actually dealt with because we dealt with it so well. It's because I know it was part of the journey, and I know that can be challenging sometimes to communicate and for people to.
But you have to be in a certain place in life as well. You have to be in a
really good place.
spiritual,
You do.
and understand how life works to
And
be able to
understand
accept something
non-attachment.
like that.
Like the
in that
healing,
way.
that she brought to so many people's lives through her challenge, and she had a massive challenge, a huge challenge. But like I learned so much from her when she was well and when she wasn't well, and when she passed last year. You know, it was you know, your passing of your mother. She's only 60 and 22 days, but she passed on so much knowledge and wisdom and lessons that we'll write songs, you know, and every time I step into a retreat or on a stage or even here, you know, she's fueling me. I'm wearing a wee miraculous medal that she never really took off. She never took off, ever. There's stories about that too, which will be in the book.
Fair play.
But she's passed on so much wisdom and so
So very
much.
lucky.
Very blessed. I'm very blessed to have amazing parents who taught us good lessons.
Yeah.
And now we're passing on those lessons to others as well.
And you're helping people, a lot of people, by your work.
And do you know what?
And your songs.
Yeah, and do you know what? Today we were driving down from Armagh. Her name's I say her name is because she's still here and very much in the spiritual presence. She's not here physically, but she's called Lucia.
Yeah,
Lucy.
Lucia.
Yeah.
My
and-
daughter's second name is
that your-
Georgia Lucia.
Oh, they're beautiful.
Yeah.
She was named after one of the saints, Saint Lucia, and she's a saint now, my mum. But she, every time I drive, I see Lucy Transport. Lucy Transport,
Yeah.
and on the back of it, it says, no joke, Cork. It says Cork, Belfast, Glasgow, and somewhere else.
That's the tour.
That's the tour.
That's the tour.
Yes, that's the tour. That's what came to me. I says, that's the tour, and that's my mum sending me a sign. So we've already done Cork. We're doing Cork again, but that's literally the tour. Seriously, that's what came to me as well.
I know. I can see it.
Yeah.
I can see it.
Certainly.
And what other songs have you got?
So we
5 stars.
we're gonna sing 5 stars.
5 stars is a good song.
5 stars. So
5 stars.
Capital 5.
Yeah.
Do you know when mum was well, just before she got ill, I actually stood her out in the garden in her bare feet, and we watched the stars.
Lovely.
And I sang a song to her. I was up at the grave last week, and I brought the guitar up. There was no one there, and there was me gazing up to the stars, the wee candle in the grave, you know, and I was just singing to her. And it was the most amazing feeling because it was like I was performing for her, like a concert. Yeah. So we're singing.
There's going to be a lot of women listening to this and saying, Jesus Christ, it's a shame that man is actually getting married. You know?
Well, shout out to Hannah too, because she's my backbone too, you know. And
How are you, Hannah?
Hannah's a star.
Yeah.
But this is 5 stars, and sure we'll go for it anyway. You came walking in and took me by surprise. Should I say hello, or should I run and hide? 'Cause you're like 5 stars shooting across the sky. I see your 5 stars. Look how you shine so bright, oh me, oh my. Oh me, oh my. You're shining bright. Oh, keep shining your light. You were standing there, and I was tongue-tied. Should I say hello, or should I run and hide? 'Cause you're like 5 stars shooting across the sky. I see your 5 stars. Look how you shine so bright, oh me, oh my. Oh me, oh my. You're shining bright. Oh, keep shining your light. When you spoke to me, oh, I was tongue-tied. My knees started to shake and my heartbeat began to rise. 'Cause you're like 5 stars shooting across the sky. I see your 5 stars. Look how you shine so bright, oh me, oh my. Oh me, oh my. You're shining bright. Oh, keep shining your light. I may never see you again, being so far apart. But all I have to do is look up to the stars and see your 5 stars shooting across the sky. There's your 5 stars. Look how you shine so bright, oh me, oh my. Oh me, oh my. Keep shining bright. Oh, keep shining your light tonight. Woo. The emotions were tears of joy, you know. We actually got that recorded there recently, and we were first time in the recording studio, and I remember I just wasn't getting it, you know, the timing you have to keep in the studio, you have to keep it a click, click, click. It was like 64 beats per minute, was it?
63.
63 beats per minute, and like when I first started to play guitar, like I'm not intellectual in any way, music wise. I just picked it up and, you know, wrote. I'm a basic guitar player, but when it comes to music, like I can't read music. That's a story I'm telling, but it's the truth, right? Just can't do it. But it took a few takes, but at one moment I took my shoes off and I says, right, Mum, just look after me here. I'm going to do it. This is the one. And I closed my eyes and I just went for it. And my mum appeared to me in my heart, in my mind, and she was like, you've got it. And when I finished, the guy Neil who was recording, he says, that's the one, that's the one, like that's the one. And it was like, she literally spoke to me, you know, and I don't know how to articulate that.
I understand.
But I get you, man.
I understand.
That's the truth. Like I can't BS on this podcast.
I completely understand. I know you do, Jamie, as well.
100%. But like, we definitely felt the presence that day, and she was guiding us both, and it really resonated with me because there's an element I was sitting down the piano at one stage for it, and I was messing up a bit of time, and I just breathed through my nose to say, get me right. And I felt like this warmth behind me, you know, like nearly got a hand on my shoulder, and just like, everything's going to be all right. And I didn't know what the fuck it was, but I just had that certainty. And we went up to his mum's grave before I went home, and he says, say hello, you loader. Do you know when he went to the car to check for son? And I felt the exact same energy. But it's the first time I ever.
I could feel it there as well. I could feel it.
It's powerful. Still here in
I
spirit.
can feel it now myself.
Really,
just a wee short story too. Just shout out to all the guys in Cork too, and everyone all around Ireland who helped us to raise money for the Super U. So we walked the 4 highest peaks in Ireland, and we done 2 peaks in one day. Which was, the first peak was the Mourns. We done Slieve Donard, and then we drove down to Lugnaculla, I think it is, Lugnaculla.
Lugnaculla.
That's
how you say it.
Lugnaculla, right? And we done 2 mountains in one day, but on the second mountain, same thing happened. I was walking, people were up in front of me and people were behind me. I was on my own, and I literally heard my mum speak to me, and she's like, keep going. I was struggling at this point, and she was like, keep going. And that was just I'm doing
That was
was
that's all you need.
And funny story is, I actually on the last mountain on the Sunday, I actually fell down a big hole on the last mountain in Morail. I fell down a massive hole. Right?
I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh at you.
Do you know what? It's funny now looking back. By the time, like, it was a big swamp hole. A few of the guys from Cork.
But you know, have a wee bit of sympathy, sitting there laughing.
Some of the guys, they literally, like,
I'm laughing because it's something I do too.
So I was literally walking on my own on the stage too, and there was people in front of me and behind, and boom, I went down. And like near dry, like I was struggling, and some of the guys from Cork came up and got me out. I couldn't finish it, but I give one of the guys my mum's picture. So on each mountain, on the 4 highest peaks of Ireland, this wee picture is at the top, and I pass it on to a guy in Cork. I says, "Listen, please, if you can do anything for me." This is only at the start, but we had only started the journey up, so we weren't even up the mountain. Boom, I was down, and I couldn't go up. So next thing, I give it to him. About 45 minutes, an hour later, he's coming down. He had to come back as well, but he got my brother, Gavin, and he gave it to Gavin. And, and Gavin, my brother, was struggling at that point, and getting that wee picture of Mum, boom,
Poured him on.
He was gone.
He was gone.
He was, and that was it, you know. So,
fair play to Gavin, boy.
fair play to Gavin.
Shout out to Gavin.
Yeah.
He's a gentleman.
He is.
Yeah.
He's an absolute gem as well, and he's full of the exact same thing you have, which is
Pure-hearted.
love, compassion, empathy, kindness, care, everything, you know, and just keep doing what you're doing. Before we wrap it up, I want to talk about what you're doing in Belarus with the children.
Yeah. Excellent question, and thank you so much for bringing this up. It's tying back to what we teach at the Live Your Epic Adventure retreats, and why we do the Live Your Epic event. There's loads of reasons why we do the Live Your Epic Adventure retreats and the Super U. First, science of achievement, what it is for the person, what they can get out of it, which is important, and then the emotional mastery tools. But then the big thing is the art of fulfillment, because we can be fulfilled by many different things, but really to do things beyond ourselves, to actually be a part of something that's about, you know, a mission, you know, an expansion. So it stems back when me and my brother, we were in school. We actually went to Africa as a school trip separately. I went twice to Africa, so I have a passion to serve people who are less fortunate than ourselves. Because we're very fortunate. Like, if people are watching this right now on a mobile phone or an iPad or a television, you're blessed. You really are. Like, and to answer your question, Belarus, I've been to Belarus many times now, and so has Stevie and Paul and Jackie and you'd said maybe at some stage you'll come over.
Most definitely.
We'll go together.
It's an IOD, so it's called the IODP, definitely. And Stevie's actually one of the directors. It was set up by a man called Tom McInally, and the work that man has been doing, he's a huge humanitarian. Like, I mean, but he's worked in the background for many years, and not many people know about it. But then he had asked Stevie then asked more people, and then we ramped it up, and we basically go over and we see what the children need. They're orphan children. They have no mummies, they have no daddies. A lot of them have been rescued from tough situations. Some of them, you know, abuse, and they're put into what we would call institutions, but they're schools for them, and they have to leave the school at a certain age. So what some of the kids ask for, and there's in the link below the YouTube or wherever we're putting this, you can maybe show the link of the, you know, and show what we're actually all about. So it's 100% charity. Which I'm all about, 100%. We pay for our own flights, our own accommodation, our own food. Every single penny counts. When we're shaking the buckets or doing organising fundraising, like the fire walk that was done there 2 weeks ago in Cork. Thanks to everyone there. I don't know the final total, but Paul actually texted in tonight. There was more money are coming through.
Amazing.
Which is amazing. So what the kids do, just to give you a wee story about it, is the kids get to ask for one present a year. And if we don't go, right, they don't get presents. That's simple.
Can I just say something before you continue? I've seen the reaction of these children with that one present that they get.
And it would break your heart. But
I actually broke down in tears, and I'm actually getting quite emotional now, even talking about it, because
You think of maybe your own wee brother or children.
I look at children in my own life, and
try to visualize them there,
and they don't have that appreciation for a lot of the stuff they get. And I see one child, like she was handed this, and she walked, and I was saying, oh my God, you know.
And that's beautiful that you're, and the thing is, they get asked for one present. Some kids ask for, you know, the latest toy, or you know, they ask for like books and stuff. But they also, some of them ask for essential items like irons and kettles. Now these kids are 7 years of age, like 7. Imagine a child in Ireland at 7 writing on Santa list every year for an iron or kettle.
And it really broke my heart, boys. You're telling me 1 year they would ask for the iron, and the next year they would get the iron on board. Whereas 1 year a wee girl asked for a Christmas tree, and next year she asked for decorations.
Yeah.
Do you know? It's just, you take a lot for granted over here, you know what I mean? New shoes, do you know? But you really need to appreciate the small things, you know?
And see when you're there over, like,
good point,
it's good point, brilliant point. See when you're over there, like, the fulfillment that you get, because you're in Belarus, and Belarus it can be a tough country over there, you know, but amazing people. And you're away out, like you're 4 hours out of Minsk in the snow, -22. There's 2 parts. There's a 2-part project. The presents are bought beforehand, and then we give them to them as Father Frost and Mrs. Frost. That's what they call Santa Claus. And we basically go with the presents to the kids, and they're like, oh, it's amazing. But then the big part too of the whole charity is when we're over there, usually on the Thursday, we're assigned into teams, and we literally go out into Belarus and buy essential products and items for the orphanage. So like plugs, toilets, showers, sinks. There was basketballs, PE equipment,
pillows,
PPE, blankets, pillows. We actually bought. We actually had to buy more. There was no sanitary towels for the women. And Tom's, in this video, you'll see it. You know, he says it turns out that, you know, you can actually buy dignity. You know what I mean?
I think they bought. I remember
25,000 sanitary towels for the women, and they had no sanitary towels for them, which is nuts. So it's a very powerful charity, but also it's close to the Irish heart, because it was set up by a man from Ireland. And now a lot of people in Ireland are actually contributing. And you know, Ireland's actually, I think, Stevie, sure, I don't know the actual, there's an article about it, but Ireland actually gives more in the world as a country than any other, you know, that give back. So charity and contribution, us as an island. So like, give Ireland,
the Irish people,
like Ireland's some crack. Like I said,
the Irish people are we're emotional people, and we do connect. You know, because we've had years of poverty in this country as well, and people can still remember that, and when they see somebody in a similar position, you know, that emotion kicks in, and they just want to give. You know, they want to give. But if I was to say, if anybody's listening here, I would definitely say, give to this charity, because I've seen from my own eyes what you do.
Yeah, and it's good to look into charities too and see where the actual money goes. And that's good that you're saying that, because like, I was involved with different things years ago, but this charity is like, it's connected to the heart, and I see on the ground level where exactly the money goes.
And I know another thing as well, and it's fair to mention it as well, that Stevie and another few lads, they also build schools within Africa and Madagascar and places like that. I think that's very important to mention as well.
Huge,
you know,
and that's all on the back of like, that was Paul's dream. Paul's dream was to build schools in Africa. Paul McCarthy,
and I know Paul doesn't like talking about that.
I know, but it's all good. But here, Paul, he has to be talked about, because he's a humanitarian as well, and he's built schools now, and like, it's amazing, absolutely amazing what they're doing there with ADSUM. So like the stuff that's been happening through the art of fulfillment, and like, what does this mean for the people watching this? Like, what will fulfill you and fulfill others? Even contributing today, later on, after you watch this or listen to this podcast, you know, do something for someone else.
Make your grandmother a cup of tea.
Yes,
exactly. Something small.
Exactly.
That's where it starts.
Yes, and see people. What I would love to see too is, for myself too, is like, see people in a new light, because you know, we can hold on to grudges and bitterness and challenges and hurt, but like, forgive, you know what I mean? Like, see people in a good light, and send out good intentions and good thoughts for everyone.
I think once you accept someone for who they truly are, and you know yourself, or maybe addiction and stuff in the past, it wasn't until you can accept yourself you can grow. So if you can look at a stranger and accept them for who they are, someone that's appreciative will always do more. But if you go up to someone, you say, there's something wrong with you, need to do this, they're just going to push you away.
Yeah.
Accept them, then nurture them, and then they flourish, you know?
Yes, it's Jamie, you're going to sell out stadiums.
So we are, and that's the
are.
plan. That's the
Straight.
plan. And
Talking about stadiums, do you want to finish up in a song?
yeah, I was saying.
For
Paradise or Painted Rainbow, son?
the
Yeah,
rainbow one.
paint a rainbow.
Yeah,
What
because
camp are you doing that
is there
one, boss?
anything else you'd like to talk about, James, before we...
I just want to thank you, Timmy, for giving me this opportunity.
It's
And
been
myself and
amazing.
My
Jimmy.
pleasure.
Absolute
Have the both of
pleasure.
you, because two of you are the real deal. Like, and I think a lot of people can learn a lot from me.
Thank
Appreciate
you, brother.
You know what I mean? That's sincerely and truly, because I know I've learned an awful lot from you
Thank you, brother.
on a personal level, and Gavin and Stevie. You know, and you've taught me to be myself.
Thank you.
You know, you've taught me to be myself for a long
Sure,
time.
who else
I
could you
am.
ever be?
Yeah, and the energy.
Well, I could show you a few masks here, like.
That's the persona. That's the old you.
So there's a story to this song. Is it the Rainbow?
Yeah, so I'm not going into the details of it, but basically I wrote this, and it was after someone's passing, and I was asked to write a song about this person, and I wrote the song. I literally seen a rainbow in the sky, painted a rainbow in the sky, and rainbows are a sign of a few things, colour, but rainbows can only come out when it's raining and storms, and when the sun hits at a certain point. So it's a mixture of both pain
Yeah.
and pleasure when you actually think about it.
Yeah.
Pretty powerful.
Yes.
So sure, we'll go for it, and if people are listening to this now, it's what you get from it. Nothing means anything but the meaning that you decide to give it.
Yeah.
Sometimes people hear a song and it doesn't resonate with them. Sometimes it does. It depends on the moment that you're listening,
It does.
you know, and engaging. So
If it doesn't know, it will in 10 years.
well, in
That's
10
it.
years.
You know.
So here we go. When the night comes, you're so far away. Then I look up, and there you are again. A shooting star, lighting the way. For you're an angel in paradise. And when the rain comes, you show me a sign. There's a rainbow painted in the sky. Your spirit, it never died. You're the teardrop in all of our eyes, and your flame, it burns so bright. For you're an angel in paradise. When the rain comes, you show me a sign. There's a rainbow painted in the sky. I'm walking, trying to find my way. There's an old tree growing by a lake, carved on the tree a message for me. You'll find me in many ways. I'm your angel, and I'm here to stay. I'm your angel that never went away. For you're an angel in paradise. When the rain comes, you show me a sign. There's a rainbow painted in the sky. I see your rainbow painted in the sky. rainbow.
And that could be for absolutely anybody,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
And it could be a loved one that passed. They could be your rainbow in the sky every time you look up.
Signs have been appearing to me since Mum passed.
Yeah.
This is a sign too to play on. To play on. I seen the play. I would follow years ago. My father used to teach me about the stars, the correlations, and there's a ply, you know.
Yeah.
And sometimes I look up and I'm like, ply on, you know, plant the good seeds, share the good news, live your life. We were only here for a short time. My mum's death taught me that. You know, we think we're going to live forever, and you can say that you will. You come back in different forms if that's what you think, you know. But at the end of the day, you're only here physically. So what you see and what you hear and what you touch and what you smell.
And now.
And
it's right now.
And now means no opportunities wasted. Never waste an opportunity.
All you have is the present moment. That's why it's called a gift, you know?
Yeah.
Lads, two absolute legends.
Thank you.
Thank you so
very
much for coming
Ronan.
down
Very
and
humble.
travelling
It's
down.
brilliant to
And
be
tell
here.
Timmy, our James, we said hello as well.
Will do.
And
We'll wish him a speedy recovery.
yes.
Hopefully, yeah.
And thanks a million, and to Rowan and the team. What you're doing here.
Do you know what? It actually didn't feel the same without him, to be honest, because James has so much.
Fair play, but fair
to
play to
offer.
come up
Yeah.
and because you have his energy too. He's here as well.
Do you know what it was? No, when we were in the opera house the other night, we were just hugging and kissing everybody, and he's just a little bit ran down, and he has symptoms, so he's a little bit under the weather at the moment, so he's doing antigen tests and stuff like that. So he would have loved to be in here, trust me, like I did, because
James, you're an
really,
absolute star. If you're watching this, you're a
I
star.
truly enjoyed this
So did I.
massively, and I know for a fact a lot of people out there are going to enjoy it. So
I ain't going
thank
up
you
the
so
road
much.
buzzing. I ain't going up to Armagh buzzing.
I'm
We're-
here
we're
now.
saying-
I'm here now. I could just.
Yeah.
I could actually fuse the mobile home below on Village Island, I'd say, if I touched it now, because I have so much energy running through my body from just listening and
We'll have to come back
being here
again
with the two
another
of you.
time.
Definitely
come
when you
back.
have your number ones.
Yeah.
When you're going on tour. If you're looking
Yeah,
for any
James,
security, give me and James a bell.
Check.
Have you at the door? Nobody come in. They'd be too scared.
Yeah, powerful. And we'll put the link. We'll send you a link if anybody wants to know anything about.
If
what
you
we're
want
talking
anything, put in the link, just send
Put the link
it on to me, and
Powerful.
we'll get that sorted.
about. Thank you, lads.
Thank you, boys.
Brilliant.
Thanks a
Thank you.
million.
1, 2.
And thanks everybody. And everybody just wish James a speedy recovery. Thank you.
God bless.
God bless. Bye bye.